What's up, everybody? Thralls of Metal here. I'm Jammin John.
Necrotic.
And we are bringing you another album review, because that's what we do here. A lot of awesome albums are coming out this week, let me tell you what. And we are starting off with no slouch whatsoever. We're going to go over the latest offering from Lick, Necro. This comes out on the 18th of April on Metal Blade Records. This band formed in 2014 in Stockholm, Sweden, which you're going to figure out right away if you've never heard this band. This is their fourth full-length overall. I personally got into them in 2020 when we reviewed Misanthropic Breed. I absolutely adored that record to no end. This band features current and former members of bands like General Surgery, Carnal Forge, Catatonia, Bloodbath, and Repugnant. With those bands right there, you pretty much know what you're getting into. We will be seeing them at MDF 2025. I can't tell you how beyond stoked I am for this set.
Yeah, I got in this band with their second album, Carnage. It was like love at first riff. Like, honestly, you know that scene in Step Brothers where, you know, they did the whole "did we just become best friends" moment?
Yeah.
It was pretty much just like that. Like, it was just like, do you like Entombed? I love Entombed. Oh my God, did we become best friends? And I've been jamming this band ever since. I've been super stoked for this one just because Misanthropic Breed was one of my personal favorites of 2020. I jammed the living shit out of the song Female Fatal to the Flesh.
Yes.
That became like just like the instant like thing I thought of when I thought of this band. Was like, dude, that fucking riff, that collection of awesome riffs. And that kind of left me with like some high expectations for this one just because every album this band has put out has been killer. And I really wanted to see this trend continue. But also I kind of wanted to see them, you know, grow a little bit musically. And I believe I got just that with this album. This is still no frills, no bullshit, Swedish death metal, firmly locked at the teat of Stockholm, just nurturing all that wonderful HM2 milk, whatever it is.
Ugh.
It's probably like curdled and rotten and probably full of bones and shit, too.
Yeah, it's probably not the greatest of choices for beverage. Milk was a bad choice.
And one thing that I love about this band, and it's again executed on this album, outside of, oh my God, HM2 buzzsaw tone, mother of God, that's just ridiculously heavy. And, you know, we've already established that I'm a giant slut for that. But
This guy.
there's no bullshit on here. Right from the rip, the opening track, Deceased, there's no intro, no pretense. You get a bit of feedback, turnover into D beats, and just riffy terrorism. It just beats the shit out of you. Comes in punky, snarly, vicious. The production, while we're not sure who did the production because we couldn't find it on the archives, my guess, they might have returned to Lawrence McCrory, you know, formerly of Darkane, who did the last album, and the production on that one was fucking immaculate. It sounds very much the same.
It does.
Well-mixed, full-bodied HM2 tone. There's a nice presence of bass in there, too, so it thickens up the sound. The vocals are read out in front. The drums are pummeling as hell.
Cannon drums. Ugh.
Dude. And this is just packed to the brim with snarling riff after snarling riff, machine gun fire, tremolo harmonies. This album is a flat-out beast. But in terms of, like, their growth, their change, you know, it's always been subtle. Like, yeah, this band really isn't doing anything different if you've been listening to Swedish death metal for years. Like, this is still very much in line with Dismember, Entombed, Grave, you know, all that good stuff. But with this one, I feel like there are some subtle changes in terms of there being a little bit more groove-laden songs in here, or like groovier pockets in their fast, breakneck, you know, just nasty songs, and melody. Melody has also been a part of this band's sound. Like, occasionally you'll hear riffs that kind of flirt with, like, a little bit of Gothenburg. Ironically, the song, The Stockholm Massacre, which I don't know if that's actually a historical event or just what they call their live shows, there's a lot of, like, Gothenburg melody to it. Same thing with Fields of Death. But the way they employ it, it's not as though it takes over the song. Like, the guitar tone alone just makes this stupid heavy. Like, single open chugs on here, you will feel rattle through your bones and just emulsify your organs.
Both Nick and I's face throughout most of this record was that.
Yeah.
Ugh. I mean, and it doesn't leave. Like, they don't let it leave. And one of the things I like about this band, this record most specifically, is there really is no bullshit. Very little by way of, like, atmospheric breaks. There's a little bit on the end of Deceased, and then there's some atmospheric piano on the ends of Rotten Inferno, a song I will definitely get into later. But really, that's about it as far as atmosphere is concerned. It's just They don't give you a chance to really calm down any. Even when they slow things down a little bit, songs like They or the absolute beast Morgrat, God in Heaven, so heavy. Even when they slow it down, they still don't really slow it down enough to let you lose the intensity and the aggression of this record.
Occasionally, they'll let like riffs drone a little bit, but often it's this just frequent chugging. And I mean, if a guitar tone was born to chug, it's the buzzsaw tone. Every chug, like I said, you feel it. It kind of crackles and like, you know, like electrifies the air a little bit. And in those slower songs in particular, like, you know, again, big droning open chords, you feel it. They and Morgrat in particular. Morgrat, I don't know, might be the filthiest song this band might have written so far. That is a bold statement because they've written nothing but pure awesome filth to this day. But this song in particular, the riffs just kind of like drag themselves across your fucking eardrums, much like a rat drags its balls across everything. Trust me, we've been to Baltimore. We've seen them. They're as big as fucking cats.
Yeah, dude, that one rat tried to take my wallet. I swear to God, it jumped out of an alleyway and it was like, hey, and I thought it was a person and it wasn't. And he was like, give me your wallet. And I was like, man, I'm just trying to go to my hotel.
He had gang tattoos, I saw him.
We should have fed him the hooker that followed us back.
Those songs in particular, though, are snarly, just gross, more swampy sounding. But then you get into songs that are just like barn burners. And this album is chock full of them. Shred to Pieces, War Praise, The Stockholm Massacre again. They're explosive, fast, lots of machine gun riffs. But this is where the melody comes into play because as punishing as this album is and as all the riffs are in here, these guys are really good about almost kind of like cleverly sneaking in melody. Like a lot of this reminds me of Dismembered. Dismembered, I think, you know, maybe over Entombed might be a little bit more gifted at melody just because they frequently like to squeeze in like very Iron Maiden style harmonies and such. That is definitely showcased here. War Praise in particular. It's a brutal, fast, thrashy, gnarly song, but it is just loaded with melodies. You get some really awesome lead melodies that just kind of give it this nice, almost kind of pleasant hook, and then like harmonized, just big lead sections there that are, again, very Iron Maiden-ish. But outside of that, the song is punishing, fast, it's explosive and bombastic, and they do that frequently on here where you get like these really good, like hooky, again, kind of mellow death-ish melodies that pop up, but none of them are so intrusive to the point where they kind of like dull the impact of the songs.
Right, they don't take over anything. They're just like a little bit of seasoning. You're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that was neat. And then back to smashing your face in with a brick. And the lead work, too. The lead work is actually really good across all these songs. Nothing too flashy, but very tasteful. And very fitting to the songs, too. Songs like In Ruins and Fields of Death. In Ruins, most specifically. That whole song is kind of doomy, kind of gloomy, very sad. And the lead, when it does kick in, cries.
Yeah.
The song. It just, you're like, oh, well, okay.
And honestly, that's an aspect that I really haven't heard in their work today. Like, you know, there was nothing that I would say kind of has that, like, more melancholic, almost like, you know, Paradise Lost-ish sort of quality. But that song in particular, In Ruins, kind of bookends with, like, some of the most dreary, somber, forlorn melodies that I think I've ever heard this band do. But in between that gloomy sandwich is just a beastie riff fest of like thrashy riffs and again D beats. This band, you know, is awesome about transitions on here. Like,
oh, dude.
All this transitions really well, like in terms of like the dynamics they employ. And it is a very dynamic listen because these guys will break into like good halftime grooves. They know when to slow it down and make it like more menacing. They know how to change the vibe really well without like kind of like derailing the song or getting outside of their wheelhouse. And when they decide to get really sick and really slow, you get a closer like Rotten Inferno, which is as rotten as fucking advertised. The swampiest, most evil riffs. And a thing I haven't brought up yet on this album, and just in general, is I love Thomas's vocals. My God, he has this maniacal, twisted delivery. Somewhere between Peter Tagrin's lower roars and his higher screams, I feel like that's where his vocal range lurks. And a lot of it is the intensity of his delivery. Like there's this kind of snarl to all of it. But it's also in his cadences. there's a lot of times in here where he's just kind of following the riff and just kind of giving, the riffs and melodies just an extra bite and snarl, talking about corpses, dying, war, rats, fun shit to do in Stockholm, I guess. Not saying you should do rats, though. I don't know how that would work. I don't think it should work. Yeah. Don't do rats.
No.
Don't do rats.
Forget we said anything.
But it's his ranting vocals. There are moments on here where he gets off the cadences and just starts ranting like a lunatic. And occasionally they'll just let him sit out front with the normal vocal kind of filter on here. But sometimes they'll muffle it and kind of add a static TV filter over it. And it just sounds even more menacing because you can't make out entirely what he's saying, but it sounds like a rabid fucking ghoul just shouting at you. And I dig it. His vocal delivery, I just think is fucking awesome on here. It's, I don't know, almost kind of a universal one where it kind of fit in thrash metal too, to a degree. But it's just one other cool aspect of this band that just makes me dig them even more. The other thing is just the musicianship. This band is ridiculously tight. I have liked every single one of their albums. They all pretty much just blaze a trail over your ass and just fuck shit up along the way and, give you some clever hooks. They're tight as hell, but there's a looseness to the music itself. It all sounds like it's ridiculously fun to play. Probably insanely awesome live, we'll find out.
Yes, we will.
And it's fun. These guys find a way to, throw out the most punishing, brutal riffs they can and add a lot of these fun hooks to it. If you're not sure that this was fun, just listen all the way to the end of Worms Inside and you'll hear some muffled Swedish giggling because they were having fun in the studio. I don't know what they're saying. It might have been a dick joke. It could have been funny, but they were speaking Swedish. So, I messed out. But yeah, the riffs just jump out. And I think to a degree, they kind of jump out a little bit more on here than they did on Misanthropic Breed, which I had no problems with pretty much whatsoever too, maybe some minor shit. But here, I feel the addition of more melodies, more lead play on here, these songs kind of jump out a little bit more. In terms of any negatives on here, oh, man, and it's a minor gripe. The most minor of gripes, really. Shred Into Pieces. Absolutely savage barn burner of a song. It's probably the only song in here where it's very consistent, with blast beat pockets. It's high pace throughout, super aggressive. And it's the shortest track on the album. And generally, I don't have a problem with a short barn burner. But this one, I feel it ended a little too soon.
Yeah, it felt like there was more to come in the song, even with a barn burner track. You still want to finish a complete thought. And to me, it felt like a 3/4 of the way finished thought. They were just had something else coming on the end, and they were just nah, fuck it, cut it. It's not a bad song, though. There's not a bad song on this record. I was just oh, we're done?
Yeah, and, there's other short tracks in here, the Stockholm Massacre is another shorter track, but it feels complete. There's enough shifts in there, there's a cool bridge, it feels like a complete thought, it didn't, leave, just a halftime section at the end to kind of close out or a fade out. For every other track in here, they felt like complete thoughts, where they were just, done. You felt it. It was over. It's on to the next beatdown. That was the only one that kind of left off with just I don't know. I feel like there was a riff on the table. I'm sure they had one because they've had nothing but just disgusting riffs throughout their entire career so far. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing that I was and again, not a deal breaker in the least. Now, I love HM2 death metal. I kind of favorite, that's one of my favorite things
if you
in terms of death
that out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so subtle about it. I rarely ever bring it up. But I try to, at least kind of pick it apart a little bit more just because it's a style I listen to. And again, this band really isn't adding much new to it. But honestly, it comes down to execution and hooks, and this band fucking has it. So overall, man, I think I'm at a 4.5. I enjoyed every second of this. Even the seconds that might have been stripped off of Shred Into Pieces. I can fantasize about, a killer fucking riff that kind of closed that off.
I'm not going to skip the track when it comes on. I'm not going to
skip it. No. I'm going to kick it out of bed for eating crackers. They can eat all the crackers at once. And that applies if it's a cannibal, too. But yeah, every track on here absolutely rips. Again, a good mix of dynamics, a little bit more melody, and I like the addition of more lead play on here. This checks off everything that I love about HM2 death metal, whether it was released in the 90s or released fucking now. Needless to say, if you're a big fan of Bloodbath, Dismember, Entombed, Grave, and then like a litany of just HM2 death metal bands, like flat out, if you love the HM2 death metal sound, I can't imagine you not liking this hypothetical person I'm talking to. Actually, all of you. Yeah.
He's talking to himself.
Pretty much, yeah. I've already sold myself on this shit. Are you kidding? I was sold the second I heard like 2 tracks. 1 track, I'll be honest. But yeah, if you're a big fan of any of that stuff, check this out. Must listen.
I agree. There's not a whole lot more I could say that hasn't already been said. It's also a 4.5 for me, easily. It was pretty much after the first song, because I kind of knew what I was getting into anyway, and it was such a hard-hitting first song that I was like, man, the rest of this record's going to follow suit. And it did. The record was overwhelmingly catchy, and I will say a little bit of a deviation from the last record. There's a lot more groove going on in here, and as you guys all know, not only the HM2 tone, but I am a sucker for groove, and it's definitely in this record. It speaks volumes as to what a progressing band does as they continue to hone in and refine their sound. Tight, well-written songs, although still very loose. Like, you can tell that they were having fun, but man, they just nailed one riff after the other. Jam-packed, full of awesome riffs, full of awesome grooves, full of awesome melodies and harmonies. The pacing of the record is great. You got barn burners and some groovy, nasty shit locked in between. Like the perfect HM2 cookie.
Filled with guts and teeth and really hair.
It's a solid listen, you guys. I knew it would be. If you're a fan of this band before, you're definitely still going to be a fan of this band. Again, bands like Dismembered, Bloodbath, Grave, Entombed. And yeah, pretty much anybody with that snarling HM2 sound, it's going to be that. But man, this is a fucking awesome record. This is the 4th time I've listened to it today. It's definitely a 4.5. It probably is not going to leave my playlist anytime soon. That's where I'm at.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They are only 99 cents, and our lone perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we will probably do at some point this month, maybe 420, we're not sure.
I don't know.
But at some point this month, we're going to do another one. Anyway, memberships are the main way to support the channel now. We also still have our store, thrallsmetal.com, with our hats and shirts. That is linked down below in the video description. And there's a join button down there if you are interested in joining this channel, so we can talk about how much we like buzzsaw guitar tones together. I'd really like that.
Love it.
That could span hours. Trust me.
Do that with us. It'll be great. You'll have a great time. Tons of other stuff, of course, coming from Thralls of Metal, album reviews, discography rankings, multiple discussion forums. And we've actually got a new segment coming for you guys that kind of ties in with the rankings, something that I think you'll really enjoy, something that we're going to also make a little bit more interactive and fun for you guys. I won't get into all that, but it's going to be something really cool. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this channel. It means the world to us to watch this channel grow and continue to become the entity that it is. I don't know. I'm thankful. You thankful?
I'm pretty fucking thankful.
We're thankful.
Yeah, no, you guys absolutely roll. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because of all the fucking thankfulness that's fucking going on here. And we will catch you later.